And a very good day to all our viewers on LB24 TV. This is Mdad, the Wandering Londoner, and I'm your host once again for another great and entertaining episode of the Sports Show. So today we have one of our community groups full of community leaders and obviously a very, very celebrated sporting pedigree here with us in the studio. So what we are going to discuss today is the upcoming Inter Bishnat football tournament. For those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, you will be hopefully educated and your awareness levels will be raised come the end of the show. Bishnat is an upazila in Sylhet, Bangladesh. In terms of our UK football pedigree, they are head and shoulders and miles ahead of the rest of the upazilas in Sylhet in terms of their achievements in the Greater Sylhet Upazila Cup, having lifted the celebrated trophy no less than 4 times. I have in the studio with me 4 special guests who will introduce themselves. And what we will do is we will be discussing all things Bishnat here today. The sporting pedigree, the success behind the inspiration behind all this success. What makes it tick? Is it all just about the players, or is it a combination of a community group of people coming together from top to bottom to ensure that there is great success? So without further ado, I will turn to my guests here now as well. I have Azad Ali on my left. You're welcome to the Sports Show. Anfar Ali, a friend of the show, who is here today. Koyas Mia and Yaqub Ali here with me today. Welcome to the Sports Show.
Thank you.
So I would like to start with Koyas first and foremost. Again, you're a friend of the show. You've been here before as well. So just as a recap for our listeners and our viewers here today, can you please tell us a little bit about the sporting pedigree and history of Bishnat Sporting Club? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Abdul Bhai, and thank you for the show with us tonight. I think Bishnat Sports, I'll start with the whole Upazila. I won't go too much into it. This is an inter show. But this brings on all other Upazilas holding their own tournament. And Bishnat has been leading the pack in that. I mean, I've been chair for Bishnat for 5 years now. And I remember from the last 8-9 years, we've been doing inter BSA to scout players all over the UK. And I think we were one of the first. I know everyone's doing it now. We've been doing it for 8 years. And that's traveling abroad. We've traveled to Oldham, Manchester. So it's going back a long way. That's how this all started. This year again, every year we do this. It's an annual tournament into BSA. We go out, we look for players, and we've introduced from the last 6-7 years youth into our pack in terms of vets football, vets tournament. However, inter BSA is a mixture of vet and youth. So we build up, so we integrate the young Bishnatis into our setup. So obviously it leaves a legacy, they can carry it forward. And it's a family thing, it's a togetherness thing through sports. You cover a lot of things. And it's just been great for Bishnat for the last 4 or 5 years. And we've been champions for the last 4 years. So that's a nutshell why we do Inter. Our sponsors have been a big part of this. And one of the reasons today, I'm sure Azad Bhai will cover that. Without sponsorship, it's very difficult, as you know, covering any events. We've been blessed and lucky. We have people sponsoring us and supporting us in our vision, which has been great. And we have a great committee and team, which has been working tirelessly last 6 to 8 years as a same committee. More people joining us day by day. I don't want to expand further.
That's fine.
That's pretty much
fine. Thank you very much. Yaqub, the Inter Bishnat tournament is something which you weren't the first Upazila to do this. Yeah. But you've taken it to a different level now as well. So what is involved in setting up and delivering the day? Are you solely focused on London, or do you also take it as a roadshow around the country? And what do you actually achieve from holding this and hosting this tournament?
So the Inter Bishnat tournament is actually a byproduct of the Upazila. So to initially start off, we get the tournament going where we invite people from all over the country. So some ones we won't be able to come to training in London all the time. So that's why the first one I think we've done in Birmingham. We've done it in Luton as well. So now predominantly we do it in London, just for the logistics of it. But the whole purpose was just for the recruit players from outside London who couldn't get into who had the chance on that day to meet everyone and to get the level of players that are available. But what we've done, I mean, we probably weren't the first, but what we've done about 4 or 5 years ago is like introduce youngsters. So we're allowed an open age for players on the pitch as well as over 35. So that we already intricated that, which is going to be more evident, more crucial now with the open age Upazila coming through. So we've started that 4 or 5 years ago. So inshallah, it's looking good. We've got the process going. So this year it's going to be even bigger and better. We've got 12 teams coming from all across England. We've got teams from Oldham, from Bradford, Birmingham, Coventry, and a few teams in London. We're going to have a mix of vets and youngsters coming and playing together. So inshallah, it's looking good so far. We've got the ball rolling. We've had it rolling for 8 years. I think that's the crucial bit of our success of the Bishnat team as a whole. Is the unity and the brotherhood that we have and the connections that we have across the country.
Azad, welcome to the Sports Show.
Thank you.
I've got a number of questions for you, but we'll start with an easy one. This is not even a regional tournament. You know, this is a very small tournament in the grand scheme of things. So it takes great passion for someone to stand up and support initiatives like this, especially when you've got businessmen who are thinking to themselves, it's all about profit. So we have lots of businessmen, or business people, I should say, male or female, within our communities. But the thinking behind support for any initiative is always based on the fact that I will support an initiative, but I need to have some financial gain from this as well. As far as I can see, because I've been following Bishnat right from the beginning, and I know these gentlemen right from the beginning as well, I can't see you making any money out of this. So what are your motives? First of all, can you tell us a little bit about your enterprise, what you do, and your motivations behind supporting this initiative?
So thank you very much for having me on the show. And so I represent Regent College London. So we're an adult college based in, we've got campuses in central London, North London and West London. So we predominantly cater for adults. Average age of our learners is about 37. So those learners who are not able to get into a mainstream university to do a degree. So that's where we are from. And so we've been established for about 25 odd years. So we started for, I think, it is a family-run business. So the owners, the founders, have started off very small with literally tutoring school, and they built it up to where we are now. So as a community family-run business, I think it's sort of, we kind of had the same kind of ethos in supporting local community group, give something back to the as a corporate social responsibility as we do. So that's the reason we kind of got involved in it, to see how we can work and increase, I suppose, participation of adult learners, if we can help them progress into education. So,
going on from that, and Furbai, you've been involved in management of sports for decades. So we know that passion can take you so far. But as with everything else, and we live in a society where sports is expensive, even if you look at grassroots sports like football, for example, expensive to run, the events are expensive to deliver. Just how crucial has the support of Azad been?
Thank you, Amjad Bhai. Thank you, LB24, for hosting us. It is very crucial. I think without the support of such organization as Regent's College London, I don't think it would have been possible to do any tournament as such, not only running a small one like the big tournaments, any sports activities. So we are very thankful to, especially to enter Bishnat sponsor this year, Regent College London, our previous sponsors as well. Without them, it would have been very, very hard to run any activities. what we appreciate is, and what the sponsor are appreciating is, like, we're giving something back to the community, so as there, we're working very hard voluntarily to provide the platform for all the sports personalities, not only just football. BSA doesn't just do football, we do football, badminton, cricket, so many other activities as well. So every time that we reach out to our community business people, alhamdulillah, they do respond. And I think they respond because we deliver what we promise. We do deliver. We work day and night. We work very hard to deliver our project successfully. So they are happy with their sponsorship, the money they spend on us. See, so yes, I think it's a give and take, and every business people who have something on the side should come along, not necessarily just Bishnath, but any sports activities where where the organization work very hard to develop the young kids and as such. So yes, please do come forward and support any organization who works really hard to deliver.
So Chris, I've got a question for you as chairman of Bishnath. Again, Azad could probably elaborate on that later as well. So he mentioned that average learning age, or the average age of learning is 37. I'm 48 now. Sorry, I'm 49 now. It was my birthday last week, so I'm 49 now as well. I consider myself to be a lifelong learner. So I didn't fully study past my teenage. I was always a good student at school, but I continued to learn. I work in the education system, work in the secondary school. Every year I sit 2 GCSEs. In fact, one of the schools that I work at, I'd probably break the record next year for being the student with the largest number of the highest number of GCSEs there. So you can imagine, there are people from amongst us who are a little bit older who want to. But again, I'm focusing on the vet scene as well. In terms of your strategy, so Bishnath is not just about football, but football is a big net. So football is the net that you use to bring everybody together.
Absolutely.
It captures people, their interest and their imagination like no other medium. Would you be thinking eventually that having a sponsor like Azad and Regent's College on board, that you could take things further? Say, right, we've got the sporting association with them in terms of football. They may sponsor our badminton tournaments or any other sporting tournaments and initiatives that we do in the future. But strategically, maybe now we could use this relationship to really push forward our community. So there may be vets footballers, for example, who for some reason or other didn't complete their studies, just about made it through school, legal school age, but later on in life want to develop their skills, knowledge, experience, and expand on their education. Do you think that this could be a good initiative to use this huge network of football players, supporters, executives, coaches that you have at your disposal to think, you know what, we could really use this to push forward our agenda in terms of developing Bishnathis. And also not only that as well, but also inspiring Anatanas and Upazilas and communities to do the same as well. Do you think that could be something that you could link education and sports together?
Absolutely, and I think that's what education and sports has always gone hand in hand. Learning is a lifelong thing. Everyone, like yourself, me, a lot of other people, we always want to learn. And I think a lot of people, no matter how successful or whatever they're doing in life, there's an element of a gap. If you've not studied or achieved certain elements, you want to complete that by a certain timeline. Yeah, I've done it. I think we've all done it. There's been a passion, at youth, maybe we've messed around, not completed. But as you grow older, you achieve certain stuff maybe quicker, but the education part is always missing all that achievement. So that always is. Certain people that you have as students are foreign people that come over to either work or thinking, and they want to take up studies as well while they're working. Because they weren't able to, or their job skill sets requires a certain element of education. Yeah, they're important parts, and I think ILFL did that with Icon College for a good 5 years. Yeah, absolutely. So that worked. Bishnath also, we will be taking that up with a partnership with Regent's College. That's one of our initiatives, and why we've you can see with our sponsorships over the last 4 or 5 years, and thank you for raising that question, we've been very strategic in selecting sponsorships. It's not just the funds or anything, it's what can we develop or bring out of it that will be good for the overall community. Because we're all volunteers, like Anfal Bhai said, at the end of the day. What we want to do is, give our time, but the time needs to be productive and better someone's life or skill sets. And I think that has to show. So I'm very, very pleased with Regents.
We'll elaborate and expand on that because it's something that
absolutely
really interests me. So going back to Yaqub as well, can you tell us a little bit more about the Inter-Bishnat tournament, what it entails, usually how many teams you have? And again, you've mentioned a little bit about it's not just about teams coming in there, but it's also a great opportunity to talent spot and also to reach out to people who would be sometimes difficult to meet or bring out. So tell us a little bit about that concept.
Well, that's the main thing behind it is getting all the people out. So we have teams, like I said before, teams from all over the country actually. So we have 12 teams. Ideally, we always looking to obviously to finish a tournament in a day. You can't have more than certain numbers. So 12 this year. We reach out to all corners of England. And then obviously they gather their own team and players, and they search their own players for the talent that they have in their own area. So obviously when the team comes, obviously they're going to come with the strongest batch.
So who are the 12 teams confirmed for this year?
12 teams. So we've got BCA, London-based, and then we've got Birmingham, Bradford, Oldham, Coventry, BSO, they're around Hitchin, them sides, Rochdale, London, Essex, Milton Keynes, Middlesex, and then we've got London Northwest.
And the venue for this year is?
It's Mabley Green.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody's travelling over. But in the past, you've done a roadshow, haven't you? It hasn't always been London-centric.
No, I just want to elaborate on that and how it started. Just to reframe that, because we have started this first, I think, because you can ask Babul Bhai. Babul Bhai asked that we travelled to Oldham first. That was about 10 years ago. Because when we were knocked out, after losing the first Upazila on the penalty shootout, and there were some brothers from Oldham and places like that, and they suggested, look, it's that thing, London and Midland thing, that we Londoners get blamed for, that we don't interact them into the teams. So we took a roadshow out there, and we held a mini tournament, played with them. So it started from back then, and then we continued that, and we've also taken the tournament to Luton once, Birmingham. So we've done it twice, but for strategic purposes and also the logistics of everything, London is better placed for a lot of the places, and it's also a day out for the guys. But what we do, Khalis has just done one 2 weeks ago. He was in Bradford. So there was a tournament in Bradford. Khalis attended as a guest. He saw the tournament. He was there for 2 days, actually, exploring and interacting with players over there, which was a huge success for BSA, because that's what people want. They want to come, but they need representation, and we certainly do that. So we've done that. Now, again, we've got in our Inter-BSA, we have regional reps. So Birmingham. So you've not only got the teams, we have reps from each region. So they do the searching and it's to interact people. Milton Keynes have been very good. They've won it once, and they always come out with force. Birmingham is growing, isn't it, in terms of interactions. We try and monitor that. And it's hard work, but it's good, because just being London-based doesn't provide the wider reach that we have now. It's because of that. And I think Babul Bhai plays a big part in that. Back in the days, his enthusiasm.
Of course.
Man travels. You'd travel to space if you heard any Bishnatis there. So it started from there, and the legacies, we continue, and inshallah it will continue after we're gone.
So viewers, just a quick story. Kwesi just reminded me. So I remember the day when, this is going back right to the beginning as well. And I know none of my guests will be offended by me saying this, but Bishnat used to be the whipping boys. Yeah. They were, weren't they? They used to be the whipping boys. And I remember when Biani Bazaar once played a friendly when I was manager, and we beat them 4-0. Yeah. And I hugged, and them days, when Babul Bhai, the legendary Babul Bhai, was the manager, and he was chairman of Sunali Otit at the time as well.
He was, yeah.
And what happened was I remember giving him a hug, and I didn't know what to say because I felt really bad. You know, you're ecstatic. You won a game 4-0 against Bishnad, and even then there were good players within that team. But you feel bad for, you know, we go through that emotion. I'm delighted I've won, but I feel really bad because I'm so close to Anfield, for example. And I remember giving him a hug and I said, look, you've got good people. I said, not on the pitch at the moment, definitely not, because you've lost 4-0. I wouldn't, absolutely. But you've got good people in your setup and things will happen. And then looking back a few years later, as Bishnat started, the Bishnat machine started, the juggernaut started operating. I was looking back at, because I always insist on a picture. And that day when we won 4-0, it was no exception. We took both team pictures there. And standing next to me was a gentleman who I didn't know at the time at all. And it was none other than Mr. Khalis Mia himself. So I put it up on Facebook last year and I said, you know what, his life changed the day he stood next to me. So I said, when I write a book, I'm gonna write a fabricated story. I'm gonna say, you know what, I had a quiet word in his ear. One day you're going to. But it just goes to show that from little acorns, what can happen if you've got, number one, the correct attitude. Well, number one, sincerity. Very, very important. Why are you doing this? Because none of you are getting paid for this. Azad is not making any money out of this. Why are you doing this? Why are you making so many sacrifices to support not only the Upazila champions? There's a lot of glamour associated with that, but why would you go to the grassroots? Say, look, there's no publicity there for me as well. Why are you doing this? Number two, why are you making these sacrifices? You're giving up your work, paid work, family time to do this. We're doing this show at the moment now. We've given up our own time to come here and do this as well. And what do you get out of it? Now, Azad, going back, I'm a firm believer because I'm one of the few coaches who's coaching and managing at 50+ level, and also the very, very young kids as well. So I go across the spectrum. So it's a huge passion of mine. And I do have insight into various age groups, attitudes, communities at the same time. My attitude has always been, especially with the youngsters, not with the older generation, but especially with the youngsters, is your education and your achievement, your sporting achievements have to be linked. So I'm that type of coach that I will ask parents about their reports in school, how they're doing in school, if they're badly behaving in school, what strategies do I need to employ? Now, there's an opportunity from what you've just said now in terms of you running this fantastic educational institute where you could suddenly have an influx of people from the footballing community, probably from age 30+, for example, who suddenly express an interest. They go and approach these three gentlemen and they say, look, we've seen the sports show. We're really, really inspired by this partnership between Regent's College and Bishnat BCA. And you know what, I didn't have the opportunity to study, maybe because it was family circumstances. I had to go and work because my father fell in. We have so many different, everybody has a different story. But now I've got some time, I would like to take up an opportunity to study. How could you facilitate this?
So, I mean, I studied as an adult. I didn't finish my degree after finishing my college, so I do understand the journey of an adult learner, how difficult it is. So we have a dedicated recruitment team that can help any individual who's interested in studying with us. Our entry requirement is very flexible for adults, so we try to, as a private college, we have a very flexible timetable that allows adults, while you're working, family life, to be able to work around it. So that's how we kind of approach it. So in terms of going back to sports links, we do courses, sports science courses we offer at a degree level. So anyone who's interested in doing that, they can, come in, have a look at our facilities, and get in touch with us really.
And where are you based?
So we've got 2 campuses in central London, in Holborn and Great Portland, Trinity Euston. Then we've got 2 more in northwest London, and we've got 1 in West London. So we've got about 5 campuses around central northwest London that is easily accessible to everybody.
Again, I'm really inspired by this, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm not just talking about this. I'm actually really inspired because of my ethos of linking education with sports and using the inspiration from both to create really, really powerful human beings. I mean, I use one example. we've got the ILFL World Cup next month, and I've got the good fortune of managing Team Bangladesh again. I never took a sponsor. Yeah, it sits with me. Yeah, I never took a sponsor on. What I did was I went up to very, very close friends, and I got them to cover the costs associated. As we know, we're discussing costs here. Every organisation needs a cost as well. But this year I had an opportunity where I had a university provider, education provider, came along, and they said, you know what, we'd like to sponsor you. And I thought to myself, again, it just fitted my ethos. For the first time ever, again, it shows my mentality and my thinking. For the first time ever, I allowed a sponsor to go, because I thought the Bangladesh shirt, it has to have a respectable, sponsor, and nothing is better than education.
Yes.
So in the past, I used to get a charity to sponsor the tracksuits for us, and I used to give that for free. This year, the education provider came, and I've done it. So really, really pleased to hear this as well, and we'll discuss a little bit more as well. Why do you think it's important to link sports? Because sometimes if you're into sports, those of us here, all of us here who are into sports as well, we've seen a lot of inspirational movies, for example, things like Coach Carter, this, that, the other. There's a lot of sporting movies, for example, drama shows, etc., that are very, very specific in linking. In America, for example, your sporting career is linked with your university. You have to become a graduate at the same time. So they do the college draft, and they are signed up by the universities, etc., but they have to complete a formal education in some discipline or other as well. Do you think that this is a model that we could replicate here? If not on a big national scale, could we set the tempo from within our own community to say, right, BCA and the Inter-Bishnat tournament have actually started something, again, inspired by ILFL, which they did with Icon College. I myself was a student when they had that set up as well. But then taking this strategy on board and say, because I'm only saying this because of the people who are around me now in the studio now. These are people who are not only sports mad, they're complete, servants for the community as well. So is this something that you could possibly think, well, ILFL have done it. We could possibly take the football community and actually start developing human beings and people through education.
100%. I think I agree. As I said, I've been working in education for about 15 odd years. So I worked with young people, ensuring, and as I said, sports is a way of getting them hooked into the education, getting them in, and then it's about how you present that to whether it's young people or adults, and see how it will benefit them. So yes, 100% I agree that having a sport means of getting people in together, then encouraging them to take those steps and see what the benefits it's going to be for them, whether it's now or long term, and just keeping their active going. So I think it can be something done, and
Thank you. Anfalai, can you expand on the role of volunteers in running Bishnat? I gave you an anecdote there about Bishnat being, with full respect, about Bishnat being, the reason why I was very, very open with this is so people can actually listen to what I'm saying here and say, gosh, what Imdad says is true. I remember being that miserable day at Mabley Green. I was a player on the pitch. I was a supporter that day. I was holding the camera on my iPhone and recording it as we got hammered. But look at the steps that BCA have taken. BSA have taken. Sorry, BCA. Not the British Caterers Association. No. The BSA have taken since. A huge part of this, I would say more than 50%. I know the players always get the credit. Somebody has to recruit them. Somebody has to find them.
Definitely.
Tell us about the role of the volunteers and their dedication.
Well, let me start with, Koyas already mentioned this. This is started back in, a few years back with our seniors. They are the one went outside of our comfort zone, which everyone calls it London. We went to travel and start recruiting, start bringing people in. Over the 8 years, this is the 8th Inter-Bishnat, and our BSF family grew bigger, stronger. Our squad is, very big and strong because of that. Talking about volunteers, yes, I think our chairman Quest already mentioned that volunteers, you need volunteers, but you need the right volunteer. I think, I would say it's very important that you have the right volunteer who could take whatever position he's holding, take the organization forward, have to have the right mentality. In that in mind, we already recruiting volunteers from North. We have one of our players and volunteers from Kifley. We got people in Bradford. We have people in Birmingham, Milton Keynes, Northampton. So yes, volunteers. We are looking for volunteers, and I think every organisation should look volunteers, but with the right character.
I think just to elaborate on that, one important, and it's not just for Bishnat, and I think it goes. I've been involved in ILF and serving you for the wider community. It has to be from the heart and passion. So when we say volunteering, someone has to enjoy to allocate their time. Yes. You do a lot of stuff into whether it's promoting dementia and other stuff, because it's your passion and you believe in it and you drive that forward. Similarly, for football, people like football, that's one thing, but there is a duty behind that, whether it's administration or calling players. So people have to be cut out for those things, and I think we do that well, Bishnat, and a lot of other, I mean, it's everyone. All Upazillas are putting through, vets putting through, ILFL are putting through day in, day out, weekly, for the vets football to continue as a platform. So there's huge sacrifices in terms of time, but there is a return. But in saying that, I think we're missing a catch here, and sorry if I'm going off topic a bit, but I think it's important. I'm looking at your dementia friends today, and obviously I've got extended family members who's, I'm sure we all have. It's a big problem in our community, and perhaps we're volunteering, but we're not promoting enough of those issues,
serious grassroots
issues to be talked about. And maybe we need to look at that as a Upazila, each individual, or as a league forum or something that tackles those issues as well. Slightly off topic, sorry, but I think
not at all.
It's certainly made me think sitting here, and while you're mentioning volunteering, football side we do catch, and it's going to continue because it's our skill set. This we might not be skilled in, but we can certainly promote and learn more about it. Again, goes to learning.
We all have limited resources. Resources have always been a big issue for us, especially at grassroots level. How do we overcome? Well, we don't overcome. We can never overcome limited resources as well. But how do you still keep things competitive, whether it's the team or the management or the services that you deliver on limited resources?
Well, I mean, every time we approach certain sponsors or anything that we do, any sort of activity, I mean, we've been lucky enough that we've always got people willingly coming forward all the time. Like Grand Bangla have been with us for 4 or 5 years now. There's loads of organisations and businesses that are really, I mean, we get to choose it now. I think that we've come to a point where we get to choose who we get involved or not. I mean, so we're lucky in that sense. But I just want to come back to the management, our management, since we've been doing this. One person that we really miss now is Wahid. I mean, I need to mention that because obviously he's done really good work. He does all our posters and all technical stuff. He's not very well at the minute. So our president does go out to him. He's really not well. So I need to mention that. And then everyone else across the board, all our management, we've got the right people doing the right things in the right positions, and everyone delivers. And we all do it together, regardless of how much we do or how much less we do. And that's the thing that we brought from within the unity and the brotherhood that we have. And we brought that towards the players and across. And that's the thing, that's the key moment. And we never use the word I, we always do we. And I think we have that. And I think that's inspired the players and the management and everything. And I think that's the backbone of our success.
And also just to tap on that, because I know what you mean in there, in terms of, how will it continue or will it drop out, or this sustainability is quite important. And one thing BSA has done really well, we've collected it together, we've identified, more tournaments or more events we did. There was more requirements for meetings, it was a lot more on people. So what we do online meetings now, just to avoid, meeting. This guy loves to call a meeting. He's calling one every other day, So I think they're important. So how do we? So we're doing more online stuff, which is just like everyone used to work. You jump in on it, you give your feedbacks. They will circulate minutes, and it has to be a formation, I think, for us to all organisations to continue that forward, because otherwise it's going to something's going to give. A lot of people can't make it to meetings, and this is where it drops out. I think so.
Very,
working smartly.
That's a very important point that you've actually made. In terms of managing expectations of people, but also having that respect for one another.
Yeah.
I might not be working, so we have all different people from different social classes, backgrounds within a committee or a structure. So I might not be working, I might be retired. So I can't expect the same level of commitment. So I call a meeting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, while you guys are at work, or late when you're brain dead, you know, and you need to be spending. I might have children who are older. You might have children that you need to take to after school clubs,
all of that stuff.
This, that. So these things are very important. So, Azad, in terms of life skills and values, again, like I said, I'm really excited that Regent's College are involved with BSA. I'm really, really excited.
I think what should come down, because we have a very nice VR lab in Holborn. If you want to pop down anytime.
Absolutely. So that's an invitation.
Yes, definitely. Anytime you want to come down.
Absolutely. I will definitely take you up on that. I will definitely take you up on that offer, 100%. Apart from fantastic education, like we said, we've been inspired through our discussion. The sports show is actually a discussion. It's not an interview of people coming in as well. Because we're a community channel, and because most of our guests, we know them from all different aspects of lives, in different settings, from different environments and backgrounds as well. It's always a discussion. And what happens usually during the course of the sports show is whilst we discuss, we get inspired to lead on certain questions, leave out certain questions. So I'm just thinking, apart from providing fantastic educational provision, what life skills and values can people pick up through their association? Because I can see now a situation where, following this show, with the publicity generated, I know this is not something that you're seeking, but there will be publicity. And when I say about publicity, positive publicity generated through this partnership, people may actually come out. The committee might themselves actually be thinking to themselves, actually, we don't want to miss this trick. We can actually get people to sign up. What we want to do is have a long-term relationship with a respectable organisation and an educational establishment like Regents. But what we could do now is we benefit from this, i.e. we have a long-term partner, but B, most importantly, is all these people, they're young and old, who could potentially now become students of knowledge as a result of this. What do you think about that?
It's a great opportunity. Like I said, I think it is a great opportunity for everybody to get involved. And in terms of what you talked about life skills, especially when you've been out of education for a very long time as an adult learner, it's hard to get into. Whereas where we have is adult people, similar age, from similar backgrounds, similar stories. So that kind of helps them to kind of motivate to get into that they can work together. So it's a good opportunity, and again, we like the support that they can get with just not in terms of getting their degree, but also when you talk about life skill, like employability skills, you know, getting them once they finish, what do they do? What work can they do? What field they can go into? You know, if you're looking into like changing a career, for example, it's great doing a degree, but not everybody necessarily knows what path that they can take. So that's where we have our employability team who can support them and guide them in terms of the careers that they can do. So that's the sort of the soft skill, I suppose, that added value that we will help and support them. So I think it's quite important that, you know, especially adults, because you know, you'd be surprised the number of people don't actually do a course but may necessarily know what that will lead them to, and that's the, you know, sort of where we get from.
How do you scout or develop, or both, talent from within the community? What steps do you take as a volunteer? I know you're an official of BSA, but you yourself are a volunteer. What do you and your colleagues do? What steps do you take to A, scout and also develop, or both?
I think this is one of the initiatives that we have taken, throwing into BSA tournament, bringing everyone out, the young, the youth, the vets, and the older generation together to come and showcase their talent. And this is where we squat. But then again, this is not, we just don't go around organizing tournament to select players. We go out. I think Koyas already mentioned that our manager, he's been out to Bradford a few weeks ago. There's 4 of us going in next month. We'll be again. We'll be staying over and watching different games and tournaments. And this is where we have to source out the talents and add them to our very successful BSA. And as you said, this is all voluntary. So when we go out there to look for players, this is our own. We go on our own cost. The hotels and everything. It's a self-funded. So this is how much passion that we have to develop Bishnath or organization like that.
One thing that's different from our days is we used to line up and jump up to get in the team.
Yeah.
Players nowadays, if they're good, you have to really use that.
No, of
it's
course,
like
of course.
Going out, really persuade them because they're busy with their lives or whatever. So there's a lot of communication skills needed and one-to-one support to keep them through, bring them to training. You have to give that or they just won't be interested. Things have changed from our time. We're always in the beginning. I've noticed that.
No, it's true, Koyas. Where you said scouting is
easy.
It's not easy. Well, it's not easy because you go out there, you see a player. You have to have that positive, that attitude to go and approach him, and then, like you said,
you approach him, but he's busy because he's good at that. Then he's good at a few other things.
Of course, and then there'll be other people after him.
So how do you manage that, and how do you persuade him? Khalid is really, really good at that.
Of course.
And one of the reasons we have a good, just to share with BSA, a good clientele, and we forget, we see him on Upazila, and people think, okay, we want to, we have a good setup, yes, to get there, but also he works all year with those chats. I know, I've seen it, and it can be really tiring.
He just hasn't been the same since he stood next to me.
No, exactly. but he spends a lot of these time, I know personally, calling players, and sometimes you have to be there for them, when they go through it. So he puts in, it doesn't just build overnight and you go on and win a tournament. Players have to work for you, and I don't know. I'm talking from a manager's perspective. Managers have to understand the players.
Yes.
I think he puts in a good effort and time, a lot of time.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes as well. So my question for you, just based on, because Koyas has given us some useful pointers there as well. Is everyone capable of taking those steps? Because I know certainly, including myself, that I'll probably run out of patience. So some people might criticize me, some people might praise me. For me, it might be, again, and I'm saying this from a position of admiration for the approach that you said, that Khalid has said. For me, it may be a case of, hold on, I asked Koyas if he would like to represent his heritage, our heritage. He's turned me down 3 times on Fulbai. Now, unless he's Messi, I'm not going back to him, because this has now reached a point where I'm humiliating myself. I'm a volunteer here. You as a senior brother now, I'm going to do. So how important is it to have that skill, and how far do we go in terms of engagement?
I think now we have to praise Sonali Estate as well for getting this Upazila and bring it to so far. I think everyone's engaged now. I think everyone wants to be a part of it. I don't think you need that motivation. If you have the skill set and you're good enough, I don't think anyone can say I'm good enough to play or not. I think now it's becoming so competitive. Like you got 40, 50 people in a squad, and then you can only have a 20-man squad. So, and you're going to be able to judge on merit. So it's not like if someone doesn't want to come, there's so much you can do. But in terms of engagement, that Khalid Bhai is actually good at. He's always engaging. Everyone's welcome, and no one's prejudged. Everyone's going to be selected on merit. Everyone's going to have their fair chance. Excellent. And I think that's how we brought our squad.
I think to precisely answer you, the balance is really important.
Of course it is.
And where you're saying is where you draw the line. I understand the frustration coming out from that.
Yes.
But I think this is why it's really important. The first approach is correct. And you know when to approach and how to approach. Because if you receive first time, you can ask second time, you shouldn't go back. Yeah? No matter how good. And I agree with that stance.
But then again, we've never been afraid of
No, but I think, do we ask correctly first?
No, of course, yeah.
This is what we stand for. We think your audition would be... And we shouldn't be doing that. If you're passionate, you should come to it. But I'm saying people have to make a decision nowadays. It's not like how it was back in the days. They're going to think, I've got commitments, they've got young families, they've got, other stuff to do over the weekend. Some footballers play golf, some are going out, and loads of commitments. So why would they sort of discontinue with that stuff for football, which they like playing, but they might not maybe attend this tournament. They might not be around in the summer. There's a lot of possibilities you have to balance out.
There is but then again, I mean, I'm talking on behalf of BSA now, right? We never been a shy, or we never hold ourselves. When we see a talent out there, right, we'll make sacrifice and go and approach that person. Okay, we don't stay within boundaries. We go beyond boundaries. Like we travel, as I said, we will try to convince that person and ask him to come and if he's good, but then again saying that, you have to have the right attitude.
Of course.
The players, not only the management, the players. And this is where BSA is unique, because BSA works as a team. So if Khalis is doing something, everybody is backing him up. If when Khalis wants something, we're backing him up. But where we want something, Khalis is there, oh yes, please. So we're all working as a team. And this is, I think, Alhamdulillah, we have been successful because why? We are working as a team and not only staying within our boundaries, we are going out there and trying to include everybody. We're trying to include everybody. We are reaching out to people and say, please, not necessarily, this is not just a London show, this is everybody's, Bishnathis. If you're from Bishnath, if you're heritage, if your parents are from Bishnath, please come along. It doesn't matter where you are. Where you are, you come along and we, show your talent here and we will judge you there. It's not like, oh, you're from there, you're from this family. It's not like, this is where we are successful. We inshallah, we will continue to do that.
With your Regent's College hat on again, what improvements would you like to see in terms of football? You've just taken the first steps. I can see this being a very fruitful partnership. So what improvements could you see football or using football and combining football and education to further develop and improve our community?
I think, again, upskilling everybody, which is a key thing. Again, like you said, I think the vets football in East London is very, very bigger than the open age. It is massive, and I think in the last couple of years, maybe even 5 years, it's exploded. I think you've got more vets players playing than the open age players. So I think in terms of education-wise, those vets players, or if they were interested in upskilling themselves, that's where we can come in and support and guide them, and that's what we're here for. And in terms of the footballing improvement, in terms of like just the general thing, in my opinion, I mean, I've been involved in football since 2005, running my own team club in Camden, at one point where we had from under 5s to over open age and over 20 odd teams. So I know how it is, and I think one of the things that we're lacking within our community is probably, maybe in where we're from in Camden, it's just lack of the Asian talent, the Asian boys coming and playing, whereas East London's got a lot to getting better. And I think especially with the Inter-Bishnath now and with the Upazila, it's more, I wouldn't say, it's better known, everybody's more aware of the tournaments, hence that's why you get all the youngsters coming in and want to be involved and play, so it's just quite nice. So I think having the integration of the youngsters, the open age and the vets, it will continue with that success, the continuation, because once you've got the vets, when they get older, they move away, then there's nothing to continue with. So having the youngsters coming in, hopefully that will take it forward and make it better. Really.
Great. Quick question, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
To the education provider and the forever learner.
Yeah.
Both you might be. Do you think we're missing a trick here in terms of we're playing football? We're talking about our community. You could say the BAME community as an overhaul. Yeah. Is there enough people going into the physiotherapy and other sports? There isn't, is it? I mean, we want to play. We're missing, as you're in education, the coaching and all of that. There's a huge pool of sort of skill sets and job sets that we're not tapping into.
No,
our brains just don't open up to that.
No. So I think we have, as a BAME, traditional business studies, computer science, but going into sports science, it's from working with a club locally or running your own business or self-employed, that's something that's really, really enjoyable, and you can do it at your own time as well as working. So that's something that we should probably look into more. I think it is getting there, but there could be more coaches and just local people getting involved.
Brilliant. Yaqub, going back to you, Bhai. So the International Tournament is an open day. What I mean by open day is, although it's played involving footballers with Bishnati heritage, it's open to the whole community. Yeah. And we have, the great thing is we all receive invites, which we're very proud to attend, come in and join. We're all friends. We all got this brotherhood amongst us as well. So what can fans and visitors and guests expect on the day?
Well, it's going to be a fantastic show of football. We will always invite everybody. Everyone's always welcome. And obviously, as you just said, that the connection that we have with all the Upazillas is amazing. And we have all like-minded people, or the management or playing. So that's something unique away from what we have. All the issues that we have within our community before. And I think that's all breaking away with this. Football brings people together. We're enjoying ourselves. We get to know each other. That we know people from Bradford that maybe we'd never met before. It's just all through this football. So this is as a community thing, as a social aspect of it, it's brilliant. It's fantastic, and it's brought a lot of people together. And we got to know a lot of people throughout. We have friends and family from our Upazillas. And the thing is that even though on the day of the Upazillas, it's amazing that people stand to watch and congratulate you. It's played with so much respect and humility, isn't it? I mean, do you feel that? I feel that all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's becoming, it's awesome. And hopefully, as the open age comes in, those youngsters will come in and get to know that, get along with each other, and obviously keep that connection with Bangladesh. And that's another thing that's an issue within our community. We've talked about that loads of times as well, where we're breaking away, and they're losing touch with Bangladesh and the heritage. So hopefully, some people don't even know where they're from. If you ask them, so it's becoming an issue. I think having this and having something that they engage in with football that I'm passionate about, and linking that with education, linking that with things back home, I think this is a very, very positive thing within our community, and everyone should keep going, and everyone congratulate themselves as well. So all the people that work hard behind the scenes, Sunali Otid, ILFL, everyone, there's loads of good organisations out there, and then I think we should all recognise and applaud everybody.
Awesome.
That's what I should do.
If you could just elaborate on that. Again, when the Upazila Cup first started, a lot of us didn't know, as that way said there, we didn't know, a lot of us, we'd be forgiven, they didn't know where they're from, their heritage, etc., etc. Now all of a sudden, then you got the teams together, and there was like, I've known you my whole life, but I didn't know you're from Bishnat, I didn't know you're from Biani Bazar, I didn't know you're from Jagannathpur, Satok, whatever. So the involvement through initiatives run by the likes, Upazilas, the likes of PSA and other Tanas as well, it's done wonders for...
It has. It's, it expanded to different models, isn't it? I mean, our one, and I'm just going around the blocks in terms of what's happened over the years. Our one focuses mainly on, bringing on the youngsters and players from sort of different
towns,
regions.
Cities,
and that's what we've been doing 8 years. If I look at yours, it's become a Mela, isn't it?
Yes.
All the interaction is fantastic. I was there before. Great job by Biani Bazar. It's footballing, enjoyed. But all the villages getting together. I think I was, someone called me. They thought I was from Biani Bazar. As the villages, they select. So it goes. Really hardcore stuff, isn't it?
It is. It's very,
so
very
that's fantastic. Jagannath will do one. They're very passionate. So it's opened up regional talks within, whether you're from Biani Bazar, Bishnat, That's great.
Every Upazila is doing one now.
100%.
Either it's a village or union or whatever, and everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful way. It's such a nice and positive way engaging our youngsters with it. I mean, remember a few years ago, I played with my son. I mean, that's one of the greatest opportunity that was created.
I think
through
if you,
this.
just, beautiful, if you look at
Yeah.
it, one of the things that's happened this year, inshallah, is the open age.
Open
Yeah.
age.
Which we've all been screaming about for years.
Yeah.
Because the youngsters who were interested,
Yeah.
on the day they come up, my son's always asked, everyone's interested. But I think because the players couldn't participate, it's kept them out for a long time.
Yes.
So Shunali has finally acknowledged that, which is great, keeping it going. I hope the time and communications put in to sustain that, which is going to be more critical. Because I told you, explained before, the communication part has to be on par. Because with adults, we will understand. With the youngsters, if we don't communicate and keep them interacted, it will fall apart. So it's a really critical key issue as a sort of community volunteer providers, all of us in ILFL, Shunali, everyone together, keep that aflow and make sure we're attacking it properly. I know it's the first one, and we want it to be great and filled with joy.
Wonderful.
Oh, sure.
Avabhai, just I remember when you played with our nephew, your son, and you couldn't stop raving about it at the time. You were so emotional, and I could feel, your just sheer delight at the thing. So again, we now have an opportunity to replicate this, where you will have in your own tournament, in the Inter-Vishna tournament, you'll have potentially fathers and uncles playing against fathers, sons, uncles, nephews, and all that as well. And then obviously going on to the open age. Because it's the first year, we have to be realistic. It may be difficult for coaches to field a team of 11 open age players.
Yeah.
In some Upazilas it will be more because the scouting system isn't as sound, as strong as, for example. But even with your sound scouting system, you would probably sometimes think, well, actually, even though we could field 11 players, it might not be wise because the quality is not there. Or you might take a strategic decision to say, right, what we're going to do is we're going to use the quota allowed in terms of X number of veteran players, and we're going to have them because it's
experience,
it's the experience, and also the youngsters having the pleasure of playing with their fathers, uncles, mama, sasa, this, that, the other. So it's wonderful, isn't it?
I mean, listen, you mentioned emotion. I was emotional on that day. I mean, Azad Bhai, he has his own team in Inter Middlesex, yes. He plays, his son plays, Yaqub Bhai's sons play. So all our sons actually plays in Inter Bishnat, where we actually play with them sometimes. It's a great day out for everybody. That's where you look forward to that day. That way you probably be playing against your son. If you're playing on different this year, I think there will be people, father on one team and son is playing on other team. So it's open age. You mentioned open age. A lot of the Upajilas that my observation and every Upajilas, alhamdulillah, every Upajilas is looking forward to the open age tournament. And far as I know, everyone's got good squad of players. We certainly haven't started our trainings yet. I think some Upajilas already have had about second or third training already.
Second.
We haven't started yet, but we're working hard on it. We got decent squad.
Is the rumor true that Bishnat are going for warm weather training, Dubai? No. Okay.
It's too hot for us. I think we need the cooler back.
No, I mean, Bishnat has a great setup. And what the platform that we created for the vets, I think for the open age, it will be even a better one. Because the vets will be there to support them. The open age players, everybody's like,
one of the things we had to, sorry, I'm sorry, one of the things we had to, so we programmed in to go on a tour to Desh, so it's not entirely incorrect.
No.
You may have heard it like that, which was a stopover at Dubai at that game and then Bangladesh. And due to the conditions currently, we had to just pause all of that, but that was certainly on the cards.
But it's definitely on the
Cards, yeah. Maybe
Coming
just
next
not
year,
now
this is on the
because of the
card.
situations.
Yeah. I mean, you probably heard the rumor that we send our manager to, to Morocco and other countries for relaxation. I think we leave that to the people to judge. But but everyone deserves a credit in the team of Bisnath. The players, the management, everybody has the passion to make the name for themselves, not personally, but for the actual BSA. So, Alhamdulillah, we're very proud, and we will continue to work hard, even more harder, to bring our youth, our vets together, and carry on winning the cup for next few years.
So we've discovered during the course of the show that you're also passionate in terms of sports, grassroots sports, and you've had your own team since 2005. You've been very active in Camden. Now, again, being inspired by the discussions we've had here on the show tonight, do you now have a long-term vision in terms of, A, combining your association with sports, football, cricket, whatever, but maybe let's take football, for example, as we're discussing football here as well, and using the educational platform, the massive services and vital services that you provide. Do you have a long-term development plan in terms of combining both and not just focusing on one tournament, but hopefully taking further steps to combine the two?
Well, then, as I said, we would love to continue work within the sports as much as possible, where it allows us to. But yeah, I think sports is a way of us kind of getting in and then trying to support, and like I said, to upskill different people within what their needs are. So I think football works because we offer the sports science courses and those ones, that kind of works with us. So hopefully we can work long term going forward, see how it goes.
Rubai, will you be back here for the draw? Are you going to have a draw live on LB24?
Definitely, sir. Definitely. We will have the Inter BSA live draw on LB24. I'll wait for you to give me a date, and inshallah,
it will be a pleasure to do so. We've got a minute to do, so I'm going to ask my guests for their final thoughts before we end the show.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank this year's Regent College for sponsoring us. Without them, it's not viable, to be honest. Without sponsors anyway, it's not viable. So thank you very much for this year. Ultimately, I think as a community, what we're doing is this is all very good, like getting vets and open age and stuff. I think the final frontier for as a community is like getting professional footballers, into the thing. That's the next step. I think we have to start thinking. But thinking big. And the future vision of us, whoever it is, whether from Biana Bazar or Bisnath, we need children to get involved in sports at an early age and to break through. As a community, we've done really well in education and business and stuff. But I think that's the final frontier as a whole, as a community, has managed to get into the next level. And that's my final thought. Sorry.
And your thoughts?
Nothing much to add. All I'm going to say is everyone watching, do come down for the Inter BSA tournament. You're all invited. If you're Bishnati, definitely come down, and everyone else. Non-Bishnatis, absolutely, it's going to be a grand of a day. It's always enjoyable, so hope to see you all there.
Are your final thoughts?
No, it's just good to be working with mixing education and sports together, and see if how we can, as I said, support our community to better themselves, really.
And Rubai?
Everyone, if you're from Bisnath, please get in touch with the BSA management if you want to play in our Inter, or if you're interested in playing in our Open Age or Vets, please do get in touch with the BSA management. We look forward to welcoming you and see you all on the 15th of June, Mabri Green. As mentioned, we will have a second show following this one, and where we will be doing our live draw for the Inter Bisnath.
Viewers, we've just had how time flies. We've just had a very, very productive discussion, and also a very inspiring discussion in how various people from various sectors and with various backgrounds from within our community can come together to deliver on a shared vision. And one of the ingredients that we've discussed here today is sincerity. There's a lot of the people, the guests that we have in the studio here, sincerity is paramount. in terms of what they do, but also making lots of sacrifices to deliver the one sporting occasion like the Inter Bishnath tournament, which is coming up. We're delighted to have confirmed that we will be hosting the live draw in due course, and we will confirm that soon, and our viewers will hear of that as well. But just to finish on the note that if you are a player or an official and you think that you have any contributions, please don't wait for the call. Let yourselves be known to people. A lot of people may not be aware of your background or heritage, especially when it comes to bespoke community services like this. Don't just sit there waiting for a knock on the door, a pat on the back. If you're a business, take the lead and follow the example of great institutes like Regent's College, and in the past we've discussed in the show Icon College as well, where they themselves are making sacrifices to sponsor grassroots sports and the community for little or no recompense at all. So I'm Mdad, the Wandering Londoner, and I'm your host. Till next time, thanks for watching The Sports Show.